Hello YouTube, this is Hunter Surge. Time for some new cards. So today was the Thursday stream. We had Impauldio, Ominagruzio support, as well as the first wave of the of reveals for the new Lyrical set, starting with the Fenelle dress up. As we get into the Lyrical set, my ability to evaluate cards effectively is going to be strained because my knowledge of these decks is fairly limited because there's a lot of Lyrical decks and most of them are not that great. Um, but we'll do what we can. And when it comes to the new ones, we'll have no problems because like I have a pretty good familiarity with the Lyrical generic pool at the very least. So yeah, let's get into it. All right. Starting with not Impauldio, Monogruzio, we have three cards. So starting with this grade 1 double rare, if it has the following two effects, as long as you have a grade 2 or greater Monogruzio Vanguard, when it's placed on rare, you look top 5 from the top of your deck, put one into soul, and after you do that, you can Energy Blast 3 to call a grade 3 or lower with a different card name from this card from your soul to your rearguard circle. Extremely good effect. Incredible effect. It doesn't have a from hand restriction, so it triggers off of soul calls. I don't recall if a Monogruzio has like soul calls in engine, but it's dark state, so there's generics that can do that. So that's always worth noting. And this is a very powerful like EB3 for top fives aren't something that like a whole ton of decks have, outside of like on the Vanguard exactly. And most of the time we've seen them, it's been there. These have been fairly limited, especially on like a more free slot like grade 1. Like Farga has that on a grade 3, for example. Um, so that just is inherently really good, and it's also letting you just like it's like you don't have to call from the top 5. You can call anything from your soul, and you're looking top 5 to put something into soul. So like it's a bit more flexible in that way, which is really great. And you get the deck thin from top 5, regardless of if you have the energy for the soul call, which is also pretty great. And then the second effect is when it's put into soul for the cost of your Vanguard's effect, it's treated as 2 cards. So you only have to put in 1 rear guard to get Umina's restand, which is pretty good. Um, then we have a grade 2 rare. If there's a critical trigger in your bind zone, it gets power plus 5k. And then act once per turn, you can soul blast a grade 1 or greater to choose a grade 0 from drop into soul. This is also kind of like Estrella support, kind of. That's probably why like it asks for critical triggers specifically. But like this is just like I have a hard time seeing this card be good enough. It doesn't hit like particularly notable numbers. Surely there are better tools for getting triggers in your soul. Um, and then where's the other one? Here it is. The last card is another common grade 1. When it's placed on rear and you have a grade 3 or greater Monogruzio Vanguard, you can choose a normal unit without Sentinel from your drop zone, put it back to bottom of your deck. If you do, you shuffle, and then if you put back in a Monogruzio, you get to give one of your units plus 5k. And then during your turn, if there are 2 or more different trigger types in your bind zone, it gets power plus 5k. So it's like in essence an 18k booster, which is pretty alright. This is a pretty solid card. Not bad at all. Not bad at all. Um yeah, so that's it for the Monogruzio support. Nothing earth shattering, nothing that'll like really like shoot Monogruzio into relevancy, but like they're good cards. They're good cards. Um, Especially the double rare. The double rare is super good. Now let's talk about Impauldio. So Impauldio got a new grade 1 double rare. If you have 4 more automod gauge, you reduce the cost of this effect by Energy Blast 2. At the end of the battle, it boosts. If you have the token order in your order zone, you can EB2 and retire it to draw a card. So it's a Jeffrey clone, good old one of those. And then when a card gets placed as when this card gets placed as automod gauge for the effect of your Impauldio Vanguard. So with its act, when you put a card from your drop zone into your gauge, you choose one of your units, and it gets power plus 5k, and then if there are 2 or more other cards in your automod gauge with this card name, you choose 2 units instead. This is like all right. Um, However, like it's a solid card in a vacuum, but like gaining power is like not something that Impauldio really struggles with like at all. Like this is not something that really shores up the weaknesses that Impauldio currently struggles with. So it's just a very strange card. It doesn't feel like it really helps the deck with the issues it currently faces. And then what was the other reveal? It was a grade 2. Yeah, here it is. Splashy Outstander. Grade 2, when it attacks and you have 4 more automod gauge, it gets power plus 5k. And then if it gets put into your automod gauge by the effect of your Impauldio, you choose a normal unit without Sentinel from your drop and put it back to bottom of the deck. It's this doesn't really do anything. Like it's cool that they're playing with effects that trigger when they're put into automod gauge, but this doesn't really do anything. And the grade 1, while like good in a vacuum, is not helping resolve any issues that the deck is currently dealing with. So it's very strange, very strange. Um, Now let's talk about the lyrical stuff. So we have Fenelle. Um, so the Fenelle dress up it on its own is pretty strange. So it's a dress up for triple trick Fenelle. Um, During your turn, you can play orders 3 times, but you can only play trick and treat or regalis pieces. And then on attack, you counterblast 1 and then give all of your front row power plus 2k for each trick and treat in your drop zone. And then if you play 3 or more orders this turn, you get to choose a rear guard and this card and that unit. Both get critical plus 1. And then if you Persona Road this turn, you reset one of your rears. That Persona Ride text is the only part of the card that's not on original Fenelle. So notably, that means like that you don't actually need to be ride decking this at all. If you want, you can just run 4 Persona Ride copies. But like that's probably not something you really want to do because of the nature of Fenelle as a deck requiring so many shieldless cards. Um, so that doesn't feel particularly well advised. The restand is also weird. Like I'm surprised they didn't like change it to like act CB1, give the trick and treat power scaling, and then on attack give the crits and do the restand. Because um as is your first attack, even though you have 4 attacks now, your first attack is going to be without the power scaling from trick and treats in your drop zone. So it's a bit strange. That would have been some really good quality of life for the deck. Um, I don't know. It's a strange one. Um, like it's definitely an upgrade. It's definitely an upgrade. And like that first attack will at least have the Persona Ride pump. So like it's not too bad. I guess you could just boost it and like probably like yeah, even like a vanilla is going to hit like 28 with a boost. So like it's not the worst thing in the world. Um yeah, it's all right. Um, Other cards are better though. So we have a grade 2 triple rare. Go to the light, repray. So when it's placed on rear, you EV3, look top 7, and add a trick and treat to your hand. The previous rares that Fennel had, like, were basically all doing stuff like that and some like small power gain. Um, this is a bit more than that, if I recall correctly. When it attacks and you have a grade 3 greater Fennel Vanguard and you play an order this turn, um, it gets power plus 5k, and if you played 3 or more orders, it gets another power plus 5k and the ability to retire to draw a card. This lasts until end of turn, so this is probably your best first attacker on your Persona Ride turns, because this is gonna swing for what, like 20, 30 solos. You put a boost behind it, that's 38 at least. So that's going to be hitting good numbers. Um, and then it's going to keep that power gain on the restand, and the retire to draw is until end of turn. So it lines up very nicely um, with the restand of the new Fenelle. So that lines up pretty well. That does line up pretty well. Like those are good numbers. Um, and also like it can be placed from anywhere. So like it works with the revives, which you're going to have more of now. We'll talk about this grade 1 in a moment because it's generic. Then we have a grade 1, double rare. When you play Trick and Treat, if it is the third or more order you played this turn and you don't have a rare with this card's name, you just call this to rear and it gets power plus 5k. So it's a 13k booster. And then when it boosts and the boosted unit has critical 2 or higher, you choose one of your other units and it gets power plus 5k. If you do, put this into soul at the end of the battle. Now, I'm not mega familiar with Fenelle, but Fenelle doesn't really have ways to get stuff out of soul. So like the shove into soul part of this actually seems really awkward. That actually seems not fantastic. Like you do definitely need to be running away to get it out of soul after you put it in there. Um and like the deck just does not inherently do that. So it's a bit of a weird maple, but it's like a 13k, effectively 18k maple. You can make it just a 13k if you choose to like use this on the on the first attack that doesn't have your other power bump, so that you get it up to 43, which is really good numbers. That's going to demand 3 cards unless they show you a PG or a 20k shield of some sort, which is very, very good. Grade 2, when this plays on rear by the effect of Trick and Treat, it gets Baladori effect. Probably not worth playing. It's just a rare. Definitely throw away. And then we have the new Trick and Treat, which is Snow and Sorrow. It has a continuous that causes it to always be treated as Trick and Treat, and it can be played from the drop. If you have a Vanguard with Fenelle in your card in its name, you can play this card if you have not played a copy of it this turn. And you choose and call a normal unit without Sentinel from your drop to your rear, and then you return this card back to the bottom of your deck. So this card is a bit strange in that it does take away from your power scaling by putting itself back at bottom of the deck. Even if you were playing it from hand. So it's a bit weird on the power scaling front. It also technically can allow you to run 20 Trick and Treats. I'm not sure if that's super worth doing, but it is like an option that's technically available. If you feel you weren't hitting your Trick and Treats enough, you can run more now. But I think the bigger thing with this is this just gives you a lot more flexibility with your Trick and Treat effects, because you can substitute this with either of the 3 steps in the process if you're playing your Trick and Treats, and you'll get another call from drop. Like you can substitute in the first or second and end up getting 2 calls from drop, as well as the maple, which makes it super easy to construct whatever board you want, which is pretty fantastic. If you don't have your full lineup of Trick and Treats, this is pretty great because you can do a revival on your first Trick and Treat. Call back something like the new grade 2 that can look top X or get from drop at Trick and Treat, and thus you are going to be able to find your way to another Trick and Treat if you're still missing one, which is pretty fantastic consistency wise. And you can also like issue like you can also like if you want both the counter charge and draw and the removal effect, you can use this as the third. Like this, it just has a lot of flexibility, and it's like it's definitely a card you're going to want 4 copies of because it's pretty fantastic. Like just makes that whole like playing through Trick and Treat things that the deck is doing, and like the steps of like the different effects original Trick and Treat gets, just makes it way more flexible. Yeah, these are like pretty good upgrades. Like they don't feel like mind-blowing upgrades, but they do feel like pretty good quality of life. Now let's talk about LDL. Um This is a generic. This is basically Shenri. Um, if your Vanguard does not have a clan icon, so the encounter decks can't use this. It gets all the following. When it boosts and you play an order this turn, it gets power plus 5k. And then at the end of its boost, if your opponent has Dress Up, the Dress Up ability, or you play an order this turn, you put this card into Soul and you draw a card. So one thing I do like about this card on face is that it feels a bit more balanced as Shenri and Saragon. In that Shenri and Saragon have this weird thing of like, because the other condition is based on board presence, if you're up into a deck that just didn't commit anything, or you went second and it's your turn one, like you basically always get the effect for free with the power increase, which this does not do. You have to commit an order to get the effect, or you have to be on a Dress Up Vanguard, um, and that requires you to be on grade 3 or greater already. And like even with the Dress Up condition, you're not getting the power for that. You need to play an order to get the power. Now this card is incredible for sure. Like High Five is one of the best generic orders in the game. So giving the clan that has High Five a Shenri is really, really good. Shrig is also one of the best Teeth Fault clones. So like that also lines up super well. This card's incredible. Like this like a huge game changer for Lyrical when it comes to its generics. Like this feels like in many ways like very comparable to the Keter package at this point. Um it was already pretty close to that. Like now you have your value grade 1 booster for your order package. You already had the Teeth Fault, and High Five is a way, way, way better order for constructing that stuff than Wisdom is. And also uh lyrical decks have access to the Ballista Ride line generically to guarantee that you have an order to play on turn 2 to make this stuff all the more live. Pretty fantastic stuff all around. I imagine this card is going to slot into basically every lyrical deck we talk about over the course of this set, because if the deck is not if the deck does not have orders inherently that it's playing, like Fenelle, it will probably be wanting to play High Five because High Five is just that good. Even for the CB1 cost that you have to pay when you're not one of the Divine Skill decks, it's just so, so good. Yeah, very, very good generic. Like, wow. Just something to immediately pick up if it's not like super expensive, but it'll probably be super expensive at launch. Like, this card's just incredible and it's at triple rare. Like, they know what they're doing with this. All right. That's wait, right. We still have cards of the day. I actually completely forgot we still have cards of the day. So we have more lyrical cards from cards of the day actually. It was Marlean support. So first is a double rare that on place looks top 5 and that's a Marlean. And if you didn't add anything, counter charge 1. Just very strange card because like even the second Marlean that we don't have in English yet, the Love Call Marlean that lets you do a second Vanguard attack. That one still counts itself as original Marlean, so you can still search it with original Marlean's effect. So you don't really ever need to be looking for a Marlean with this. I don't know, very strange. And when it's placed in the same column as a unit, when a unit is placed into the same column as this by the effect of your grade 3 or greater Marlean Vanguard, and does it say Marlean Vanguard? Yeah. And you have Persona Road this turn, stand this unit. I have a hard time seeing this card making the cut. The fact that it has a Persona Ride requirement, um, I'm not actually not sure if that works with the re-ride in battle phase with the promo Marlene. If it works there, it feels pretty important. Can of course be a restanding booster for your other stuff, but like not working until Persona Ride is really, really stinky. Like I feel like a lot of the value of restanding boosters is there a really easy way for you to shore up the power deficiencies of non-Persona Ride turns of that first grade 3 turn. So the fact that this doesn't work then really cuts into its value as a restanding booster. Um, and of course there's also the part where where the top 5, the on-place effect is not very valuable because of how Marlean functions. Then we have a grade 2 common for Marlean. When it attacks and you have a grade 3 or greater Marlean Vanguard, you can give it power plus 5k. If you do, it shuffles itself to soul at end of turn. And then when your Marlean Vanguard is attacked, you can put it to Guardian Circle from soul. It doesn't get any extra shield, it's just a 5k. It's just like a weird intercept. It just clears itself out of your way for you to like call stuff down. It's weird. I feel like this card is more likely to see play than the double rare, but it's not super good. It does really feel like we're getting a lot more low rarity cards. They're like being designed with intention to like be real cards, which is neat to see. And then we have an Alden wave. So we have a double rare for Alden. This is a grade 2 that gets boost and power plus 5k if you have an Alden Vanguard. That's always fantastic to see. I really love these flexible cards that can be both attackers and boosters. At the end of the battle, where it attacked or boosted, if you have an Alden Vanguard, or if you reveal an Alden Vanguard from your ride deck. So this works in the early game. You can shove into soul and look top 5 and reveal and add a grade 3 non-regardless piece from among them to your hand and shuffle your deck. Now, I'm not super familiar with how Alden is being currently built. Maybe they're running like 12 grade 3s, but even at 12 is not like a sufficient. No, it would be 11 countering Persona rides, because the first copy of your Vanguard is in your ride deck. But even with a count that high, top 5 is not actually super likely to hit. With top 5, you really want to be looking at like 20, like 15 to 20, like is really the range you want to be in. And like even 15 is kind of pushing it, to be quite honest with you. You really want to be in the 20 plus range to be safe with that stuff. So this is just going to whiff like a lot, and you're not going to get anything back from it. And that really sucks. That's really bad, especially when it's a particularly valuable booster. It's a 15k booster. So this second effect feels super, super fake. Like, the real part about this card feels like the 15k booster part. I don't know. This card does not seem fantastic. And then grade 1, when placed on rear and you have a grade 3 or greater Alden Vanguard, you can discard a card from your hand to add back a grade 3 with different card name from your Vanguard from your drop to your hand, non-regardless piece. Don't know why they even put that on something that's getting from drop to hand. That's super weird, actually. Rise on All is really, really important to how the deck functions, if I recall correctly. If I recall how Alden works at all. So being able to get that back seems pretty solid. It seems pretty alright. Doesn't seem like a super good. This wave does not seem super, super great for Alden. Alright. That's going to be it for me today. This is Hunter Surge, signing off.